if at the end of every year you feel like you're making some sort of progress, but deep down inside, you know that you're not actually taking the steps towards building your dream life or your ultimate goal, then I think this discussion might be interesting for you. Because I feel like that every single year. And I think there's a lot of reasons as to why that happens. But one part of it is because of my conflicting personality, where one side of me wants to play it safe and just wants to think through things before I do them and really kind of plan and research first before I take any action. And the second side of me just wants to be spontaneous and wants an adventure and wants to just experience and explore and be curious about things. And so these two really different personalities live inside one body. And I think that has caused a lot of internal turmoil in the sense that I feel like I'm never ready to take that big step that I know I need to take. Because it is just this feeling of the goal being too big in a sense, or too unrealistic or unachievable sometimes, where in fact we all know that that is not true. Because if someone has already done it, or if there's a lot of people that are there, then it just means that you can do it too. It's just a matter of time and a matter of when really. And kind of, I guess, the reason why I want to talk about this whole idea of why we delay our dreams and why we are scared to take the next step is, first thing first, the fact that we feel like we're not ready to take the next step. But the thing is, you'll never be ready. Like, I don't think anyone is really ready to kind of step into the unknown, because it's scary and you can do as much planning, as much research as you want. But at the end of the day, I think what's actually going to give you clarity and what's actually going to move you forward is to just take action and is to just do it. Because I think for me, a lot of the times, I kind of resort to taking baby steps and inching slowly forward. But the issue with that is that when you take these baby steps, it's really easy to kind of get sidestepped and kind of get distracted or accidentally ending up jumping into a parallel timeline where it's kind of similar to what your goal is, but your pathway is like this. It's parallel and it's actually never gonna meet if you don't take the action to kind of reposition yourself or kind of, just guide yourself towards that angle. And in order to do that, you just have to take action and be uncomfortable and understand that you will mess up. Things won't go to plan, and you just have to learn from your mistakes and kind of take that, because I think that is what actually moves you forward. Because if you don't make any mistakes, if you're so safe and just plan things out so much, then you will never actually you never actually learn what is good to do and what might not be a good thing to do. And so there's a lot to be said about embracing mistakes and making, like, failing at something, really. Because every failure, I feel like, is just a redirection of getting you closer to where you need to be. And so I think a big part of it is just understanding the fact that you never feel like you're ready to take the next step, but just to take it anyway and not to kind of cop out and take the easier step that you kind of know is safer and will kind of still progress you, but it won't actually bring you to the destination. And I think the second thing I kind of want to discuss is that why we have this sense of feeling like we're not ready is because of the fact that I feel like there's always a gap between your taste in what is good versus what you are capable of right now. And I don't think that gap will ever disappear. Because if you have the learner's mindset, if you're curious and you're always kind of trying to improve yourself or learn more, then it's very natural for that gap to exist, because what that means is just that you are trying to become better and you're trying to learn more, and therefore there is a saying that, you want to be the dumbest person in the room, because that is when you learn the most. That is when you grow, and that is when you get a really valuable insights. And it's the same thing with having a gap in your taste versus your skills, because then you have this kind of goal to work towards. You have this standard and you have this inspiration. And that is a great thing, because then you can just keep trying and just embrace the fact that you're gonna suck at something at the start in order to be remotely good at it. And all the people that you admire, that you look up to, that you think is a genius, they all went through that. Like, nobody is born just perfect at their craft. Everyone has to go through the stage of learning and mastery. And I feel like that is a lifelong process. And that gap will naturally become smaller and smaller and smaller as you progress. But just understand that it will never disappear, and it's okay. And therefore just embrace the fact that you're not as good as you want to be. And take actions by being kind of curious and just learn more. Put in the reps, because a lot of it is just about practice. A lot of it is just about doing the uncomfortable things to learn and to just, become better by doing. And I think the last thing I want to say about this is, I think a lot of us feel like we need to be responsible. And this is a tricky thing, because obviously we want to be responsible for ourselves in terms of just being self-sufficient and also taking care of people around us and just not being too crazy in that sense. But I think that is often like an overlooked factor, where responsibility also means that you have to be responsible for yourself, for your own happiness and for your own kind of fulfillment in that sense, because you are the only one that is gonna make your dream come true. Like, people along the way can help you and they can guide you, and if you build a good community around you, that will help you a lot. But the fact is, you are the only one that can control your actions, and you are the only one that can move yourself forward. And I think it's only responsible for you to kind of really answer that urge, because if you have an urge to do something, or you have this this dream that you really want to kind of have a go at, I think it's only responsible when you are still kind of young and don't really have, I guess, a family or something that you're actually responsible for in that sense. Then it's only for the better if you explore it and you kind of give it your all in this period of your life towards that dream, because you don't want to get to, a stage where you have regrets and you kind of start to have resentment because you never actually tried and you never actually take the steps towards building your dream life. Because yeah, I think it's a completely different topic that I can explore, but a lot of it is about just being responsible for yourself and your mentality and your mindset and just being fulfilled. Because I feel like if you're a happy, fulfilled person, then naturally you become a good person, and you will kind of want to uplift the people around you. And that to me is being responsible too. And I guess to kind of wrap up this topic of why we delay our dreams and why we just sometimes don't take the steps that we know we need to take, is because it is hard. It is really, really, really hard to work towards your dream, because sometimes you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it feels like it's really out of reach, and that you're not made for it. And I think the biggest thing to take away is that you just have to understand that you will never feel ready, and that it's okay to make mistakes along the way, because you have to take this big step, the actual step that you know you need to take, and not to kind of take the easy way out. Because I think anything that's worth doing will always be uncomfortable at the start. And anything that is gonna actually help you and progress you is gonna be challenging. And that's good. When you know you're being challenged and you know that you might fail, I think that's actually a good thing, because then you're actually taking the right steps in that sense. Because all the most successful people, it comes from execution over thinking. And nothing happens without action. So I think just don't be afraid of the unknown in that sense. I know it's easier said than done, but just don't be so afraid of the unknown. Don't be so afraid of failing. And just to do it scared, and understand that just by taking that first big step, whatever the outcome is, you're already taking a big step towards your dream. And that's great. So yeah, this is day 22 of me talking to the camera. Bye.